In the summer of 1986, a small town in Ohio buzzed with excitement as the annual car show approached. Among the town's enthusiasts was Jake, a high school senior who spent countless hours tinkering with his father's prized possession, a cherry red 1985 Chevrolet Camaro Z28. It was a car that turned heads with its muscular design and powerful V8 engine. As the day of the show neared, Jake felt a mix of pride and anxiety. His father, a former drag racer, had always dreamed of showcasing the Camaro, but after a serious accident years earlier, those dreams faded. Jake wanted to honor his father's legacy and make the Camaro the star of the show. One evening, Jake worked late in the garage polishing the car's exterior until it gleamed like new. He remembered the stories his father told about racing down back roads, the thrill of speed, and the camaraderie among car enthusiasts. With every stroke of the cloth, he could almost hear his father's laughter echoing in the garage. The night before the show, Jake decided to take the Camaro for a spin. He invited his best friend Danny, who loved cars just as much. They hopped in, the engine roaring to life, filling the air with a deep, throaty growl. With the windows down and the radio blasting classic rock, they cruised through the town, feeling invincible. "Let's hit the old drag strip," Danny suggested, his eyes gleaming with excitement. The drag strip was an abandoned stretch of road on the outskirts of town, where legends were made and dreams dashed. Jake hesitated but couldn't resist the thrill. They raced each other, the Camaro flying down the road, the adrenaline pumping through their veins. Suddenly, they spotted a classic 1970 Dodge Challenger parked at the side. Its owner, an older man with a weathered face, watching them. Curious, Jake slowed down. The man waved them over. "Nice ride, kid," he said, a smile breaking across his face. "Ever raced a Challenger?" Jake's heart raced at the challenge. "What do you say? Best 2 out of 3? The old man chuckled. "You've got guts. Let's see what you got." The two lined up on the makeshift starting line. The air was electric with anticipation. Jake could hear his heart pounding, the engine idling, ready to unleash its power. As they took off, the world blurred around them. The Camaro surged ahead, the Challenger close behind, engines roaring like beasts unleashed. They crossed the makeshift finish line, the Camaro winning by a hair. Jake couldn't believe it. The thrill of victory surged through him. They cheered, exhilarated by the race and the bond forged between generations of car lovers. As they chatted with the old man, Jake learned that the Challenger had seen its share of glory days. Much like the Camaro, they shared stories, swapping tales of racing, crashes, and victories. It felt like a rite of passage, bridging the gap between youth and age. The next day at the car show, the Camaro stood proudly among other classic cars, Mustangs, Corvettes, and even a few rusted-out beater cars that had their own stories to tell. Jake felt a rush of pride as he polished the Z28, his father's spirit with him. When the judging began, he was nervous but hopeful. As he stood by the car, he noticed the same old man from the night before. The man approached, giving Jake a thumbs up and a nod of respect. In that moment, Jake realized that winning wasn't just about trophies, it was about the connections made and the legacy passed down. Later that day, as the results were announced, Jake held his breath. The Camaro won Best in Show, but more importantly, he gained a sense of belonging among the car community. His father's legacy lived on, not just in the car, but in the passion it ignited in him. As they packed up for the day, Jake and Danny exchanged glances, filled with unspoken understanding. They knew they'd be back next year, and every year after that, honoring the cars and the stories they carried. Driving home in the Camaro, the sun setting behind them, Jake felt a profound sense of peace. It wasn't just a car, it was a bridge between the past and the future, a reminder that the spirit of the open road would always be alive, as long as there were dreamers willing to take the ride.